So hello there, my name's Dan Lemaitre and welcome to the review, and I'm sure you'll agree, a very special review. And this is a review on the Bachmann Daisy that's just been brought out in the Thomas the Tank Engine range, set in Bachmann. And I think Daisy is an absolutely fantastic model. Daisy is one of the characters that was introduced in the Railway series by the Reverend W. Awdry. Daisy was brought to the island of Sodor after Thomas had an accident and crashed into the station master's house and joined him for breakfast. She then went on to appear, she first appeared in Series 2 in the episode Daisy, and then after that she was in the episode Series 4 called Bullseyes. Technically she should have actually been in Series 3, but her role that was in the Railway series was replaced by Diesel, which I thought was a bit of a shame. And then it wasn't until about another 10 years later that Daisy appeared in Calling All Engines. And I've actually been to Drayton Manor, and if you go to the Discover Thomas exhibition, which is at the end of the line, if you go on one of the trains to get there, you can see Daisy's model from the TV series, and it was actually that model that was used in Calling All Engines. And like I said, I was really surprised when she appeared in Calling All Engines. And when I first went to Drayton Manor, Daisy was coupled to a milk truck with a face and was seen going backwards and forwards of the milk truck. And the second time I went, she was actually coupled to a tar wagon, again with a face and going backwards and forwards. A little bit of a joke, I suppose, really, as she doesn't normally pull anything. She says pulling's bad for her swerves. Although saying that, in the episode The Railcar and the Coaches, she does pull Annie and Clarabelle, which is the first time she's actually seen pulling anything for the first time. Another thing that made me laugh at Drayton Manor as well is that Daisy was actually parked inside Toby's shed, which I found quite funny, as she normally detested being inside the engine shed as she thought it was smelly and of course bad for her swerves. And when I went to Drayton Manor the second time round, when she was pulling the tar wagon, she went and got stuck on the points, which was great photo opportunities, but at the same time a bit of a shame. But I've heard that she's actually working now, and when I've been there, I met a guy called James Productions 97 on YouTube. And he was very knowledgeable and informative, telling me a bit about the models and all that sort of thing, which was very nice. So hello if you're watching. And also, the second time I went, I bumped into a guy called Will Schofield, and he said he watches my videos quite a lot. So Will, if you're watching, hello, thanks for watching again. Great meeting you both. And also there was Rosie's model from the television series, and Rosie was originally painted as a lavender sort of colour, and she was when she first appeared in the CGI series, but she's now painted red. But as I say, her model that's there is actually painted in lavender sort of colour, and it's weird actually because I was a big fan of Daisy, and I actually had a guinea pig called Daisy. It's actually my sister's, but I named one of them. I named Daisy, and she named the other one, which was Rosie, which is, funny enough, both engines. But that was actually before the engine Rosie came along. But I named Daisy mainly because I like the diesel.
Now you open the door on this.
And also there was Molly's model, and Molly was another engine in the TV show, and funnily enough I had a canary that was orange called Molly as well, as you can see here. Right, so going back onto this model is more based upon what Daisy looks like in the CGI series, with the face and everything, and also her buffer beams, as you can see here, and her wheels, again, absolutely the same as what they look like in the CGI series of the show. I say Daisy was in the model series of the show as well, as I said earlier, and in the model series, just about there on the side, you can see here she had some small windows next to her third doors, but I say as of the CGI series, those doors have gone. On Daisy's face with the makeup, you probably can't see it in this photo as well as I can, but on her right cheek, her makeup is quite pixelated for some reason. That would be my own sort of criticism. I don't know why it's like that. It doesn't look very good, but at the same time, like I said, it is very barely noticeable. I think you'd be forgiven if you didn't notice it. And I was going to say, if you look at this illustration of Daisy from the Railway series, it looks a lot more like what she looked like in the Railway series, although I've noticed there's more of a pattern because, like I say, there's two windows, like this in between her doors. Also in the Railway series, when Daisy first appeared, she was like a BR Brunswick green colour, and she had the British Rail logo on the side. But then later on in the books, as the books went on, she became more of what I call a North Western Railway Percy Henry sort of green. Although sometimes when she appeared in the magazines, she had a dark green colour, and in other books as well. And again, I've actually put her next to Percy, and I've noticed she's a bit more of a different shade of green to Percy here as well. But at the same time, I think she does look the green that they've used on her for this is very good. So when you compare it to a TV series model. She was also very different in the TV series, because you can see here she's got a grey face mask. So in the TV series she had a grey face mask, like all the other engines, and she actually shared her face masks with Boko, but they had a lot more makeup. And like I said, when she came back to the CGI series, although she had makeup, it was a lot more toned down. As I said with Daisy before though, in the TV series she shared the same face mask as Boko but with makeup added on, but in some episodes she also had the same chassis as Boko. Boko has 6 wheels one end and 4 the other, whereas Daisy has 8 altogether, so 4 one end, 4 the other, but sometimes she shared the same chassis, and this error was carried out in other illustrations as well. And also as well, when she come back into the CGI series, her face became a lot smaller and her buffer beam was raised, because in the TV series her buffer beam was very, very low. It's probably to accommodate her face, and it was also the point that if you look next to her here, she's got a truck next to her, and if she'd have shunted that truck, not that Daisy did much shunting, but the buffers would have ended up in her face because her buffers were just really, really low. Whereas again in the Railway series they were a lot more level, but as I say, when she come back to the CGI series, her buffer beam was a lot more sort of level with the platform and that and the other engines, so it was a lot better. I do have Daisy in the Ertl range as well, but my only criticism with that one would be that the buffer beam again is too low. Also it doesn't come with a front coupling. I mean, I know Daisy doesn't pull stuff much, but obviously it'd be good if obviously another engine needed to pull her if she was to break down or something. So I'm not a huge fan of CGI. I'd much rather have the models back, but at the same time I do think, let's say, certain models like Daisy look a lot better as well. When you compare her in the Railway series and TV series, in the Railway series her roof was grey right the way along, whereas here you got like a green bit and then you got the grey bit, and that. But yeah, at the same time I do think it looks really, really nice how they've done it. And I've actually been lucky to see a lot of diesel rail cars, diesel multiple units, because Daisy's what you call a single rail car, whereas most of the time they're made up of multiple units, and there's like 2 diesels both end, like a rail car coach in the middle. That's a similar sort of pattern livery, and I have to admit it was actually a very smooth ride as well. Obviously Daisy's has gone about being highly sprung and having a smooth ride. And if you look on the back of Daisy, she's got the 4 lamps again, like she did in the TV series, in the model series, and in the CGI series when we do see the back of her a few times. But in the Railway series she actually appeared to have just like smaller lights actually fitted onto her body and appeared to have a face at both ends. So again, she was a lot more different. And like I said, Daisy didn't really appear much like I said, the Series 4 episode that she was in should have actually been in between the episodes Daisy and Percy's Predicament in Series 2, but it got moved to Series 4. But at the same time, it's probably not a bad thing, because otherwise it probably would have been like another nearly 20 years till we actually saw Daisy. Like I said, we only had to wait another 10 till she appeared in Calling All Engines. But I do like to think that she was a lot more popular in the Railway series than she was in the TV series. And as well, Boko, say, she shared the same faces with. He was in the last ever book of the Railway series, and so was Daisy. I mean, they didn't speak, but they actually appeared, which was quite nice. And in some ways, they seemed more popular in the Railway series than characters in the TV series, like, I don't know, Bill and Ben, for example. You know, they seemed a lot more popular in the Railway series, which is a good thing. And Daisy made a number of appearances in the magazine stories. And I've got a number of my magazines here, as you can see, from when I was younger, and I've kept them. I think they're not in bad condition considering, like I said, whenever Daisy appeared in a story, you know, even if it was just in one illustration or something, it was always something quite nice, really. And I suppose really it was nice because she got to appear alongside characters that she never would have done in the TV series. But at the same time, like I say, now if you go to Drayton Manor or compare the CGI series now, she did actually appear a lot more alongside characters she never did before, which was probably a good thing. Like I said, there was a bit of a continuity error in the TV series as to when Bullseye's appeared. Although at the same time, I like the Railway series version of it as well. But it was nice that Daisy still appeared in the episode got made at all, because as we know, there's no end of characters and stories that were in the Railway series. They never got made into the TV series, which would have been nice, although say some of them were planned to, but didn't. It's funny actually, I went to the Didcot Railway Centre the other day and went to Paddington Station. It reminded me of, say, the story Gordon Goes Foreign, which, like I said, it's funny really, you go to any sort of railway and you always think of Thomas really, so they were based upon real engines and real life events as well. So I had a run of this model, and I thought this model was great to look at first off anyway. I watched as well someone else's review, and my personal thoughts when I don't like to, you know, get my views confused with other people's and, you know, change my views because of what someone else thinks. But I watched another review and they were going on about the colour of Daisy's windows, and in the CGI series you do see through her windows a lot more, so you can see her crew at work and you can see passengers, but here they're sort of not blacked out, but obviously you can't see on the inside of them. But I can understand why they've done that, because obviously you wouldn't really want to see through to the motor or anything like you do with some models. And something I would like to add as well is this is actually the biggest model of a diesel locomotive that Bachmann's actually created, because all the others have just been diesel shunters which are smaller, so this is a lot bigger, and the box it came in was massive as well. And again, moving on to the packaging, I prefer the packaging like the Hornby ones come in. You've got more of a box to protect them, and even like the G-scale ones and the 009 ones, they come in more of a box that's more protective really. It's a shame that they don't for these bigger ones, which in my opinion are a little bit more delicate. And as well, on the front here and on the back you've got the brake pipe, and that to me looks quite fragile. As I said before though, I'm not as keen on the packaging in the Bachmann range as the other ranges or the other types of packaging you can get. However, on the plus side, this model of Daisy's got a little case over the top of her, so she is a little bit more protected. And I think the last time I actually saw anything like that was probably on the Hornby ones, like Murdoch on Spencer. The box that Daisy comes in the Bachmann range is massive as well, same size as Gordon's. I haven't got Gordon's, but obviously as you know, Gordon is a big engine, but say this is a similar sort of size. And then on the back it shows you all the different ones you can buy. And Daisy's even on the list now, because it shows photos of all like the main characters, and then the other ones are listed, and Daisy's name's on there now. And it also mentions about obviously the fact she's got moving eyes, like most of them do. And as well, I had a little test run of these, and I actually had Daisy pulling some stuff as well. And I'd like to assure you, as you probably saw in my post that I put on the community tab the other day, nothing was actually, no swerves or anything were broken in the making of this video. However, something that did happen, obviously here you've got a front coupling, the one on the back actually come off, and it was quite fiddly to get back on again. And I've actually had that happen before. That happened with, I can't even which one it was now, I'm getting confused myself, but either the Donald and Douglas, one of them that I've got in the Bachmann range, one of the couplings come undone, and they are really fiddly to get back in. And I think considering like the market this is aimed at, I say there are some very sort of fragile parts on it. I mean, Daisy's got handrails here, as you can see as well, but they've actually been like moulded onto a body, which is better. And it is nice that they've added the brake pipe and the coupling hooks. So even the buffers, I do think personally they are very fragile for young hands. But like I said, when I saw this model, I thought that the windows on it were great. I mean, my only criticism of the windows would be you've got like the little frame bit here. And in my opinion, I think that maybe that should have been done in black or a bit of a darker colour, because it's the same colour as the window. And as well, one of the reviews I was watching was going on about the windows being the same colour as the roof. And to me, maybe it's because of the lighting here, but from what I can see, just moving my head up and down, they're two completely different shades of grey, silver. I mean, some people have even said it's like a blue sort of thing. But again, when you look at Daisy in the Railway series, the windows had a bit of a tint on them like that. And again, in the CGI series, when they don't do close-ups of people through the window. So I think that personally the windows are really nice on it. And like I said, I like all the other details like the lamps and that they've put on it. And like I said, it's been a while since I've actually reviewed a locomotive by Bachmann, where I've been really excited. And so I can honestly say that when I saw this one, I was really excited. And I think as well that, you know, just looking at it is great, but then when you actually see it running, and the good thing about it running as well is, like all the Bachmann ones, you've got the moving eyes that go from side to side. It is really good, and I'm really glad that they made it. And when I was younger, I went to a model railway show that isn't too far from where I live now, and there was a man, and he actually had the actual basis, the actual characters that they were based on. And from this book here, as you can see that I've got Ladybird book, he had all the photos of the faces cut out and actually put onto the trains, and I haven't actually got any photos to show you, unfortunately, although I've got this more recent one from Worley. I went to a few years ago where someone made their own Daisy model, and on YouTube over the years there's been other people that have made their own models of Daisy, and don't get me wrong, they're absolutely fantastic, but I wouldn't be able to do that myself. So to be able to actually buy a model of Daisy like this, absolutely fantastic. And like I said, it does run really well. And like I said, I shared my thoughts on it on the community tab. And again, I got this from Toothley Thomas, which is based in Rushden. I've got a lot of my other ones from over the years. And you know, and when I went and collected it, as you probably saw on my community tab, I had my old Model Zone carrier bag. Unfortunately, Model Zone's closed down now, so I suppose the bag's quite ancient really. But I always carry a few carrier bags around with me in my car and that, because you never know, they're going to come in handy. Just saves getting another carrier bag with the price of them, and probably doing a bit for the environment as well. But like I said, I run this, and she does run, in my opinion, she runs absolutely fantastically. And she didn't seem to grumble at all when she was pulling stuff either. So that was Daisy running. Another thing I'd like to add to the model as well is obviously it's got white buffers. Again, in the TV series, Daisy had white buffers, although in the Railway series her buffers were grey, but all the engines were pretty much grey. Like I said, it wasn't really until the TV series that you started getting engines that had different colour buffers. Although in some magazines that she's appeared in, her buffers have been black. I don't know why. But again, there's been other characters that have got the wrong colour buffers in the magazines as well, They don't always get the colours of them right. Again, I don't know why really. I guess it's just the way that it is. Also as well in the magazines I noticed that Coldy appeared in some of them, who was only a Railway Series character, which was quite nice, because unfortunately Coldy never made it into the TV series, and the reason they didn't make many books or stories about the mounted engines was because of it just being just the line and everything being so precise on it, because of obviously health and safety and all that. There wasn't really many stories they could write about it really, unlike mainline engines or even the narrow gauge engines really. But to conclude, like I said, I do think this is a really good model of Daisy, and it's not very often that I find a model that, you know, disappoints me. The only one that I would say that disappoints me probably would be Spencer, because his front's a bit too flat, probably because of his eye mechanism. And what I've noticed with this one is the wheels are actually powered at the back. The front ones aren't, but the back ones are, and that's probably to accommodate the motor that powers the eyes. But that's not a good thing to say. That's not really a bad thing or a good thing. It's, you know, that's just okay really. So it runs absolutely fine really. It doesn't bother me what side it runs from. Like I said, it runs really nicely. And like I said, it's the first big one that they've actually made in Bachmann. Like I said, you've got D7101 and D261 in the Hornby range, but this is the first. But say that's Hornby. They say this is Bachmann, and definitely the best, in my opinion, the best big diesel that's been produced. Because obviously with D261 they used a class 37 when it should be a class 40. Again, I saw his model at Drayton Manor, and it's actually the biggest one they've got there. And saying D7101, there was probably issues with that, and his Ursel model, in my opinion, was a lot better. But so I really like this model of Daisy, so I'd definitely give her a 10 out of 10, and definitely recommend that you get her if you can. Fantastic model all round. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.